Okay, so I'm sure you've gotten this question quite a bit, but what was your familiarity with One Cut of the Dead before coming on to this project and working on Final Cut?
I wanted to work on a comedy based on a shooting set since a while because I'm working since 30 years now, and
Oh,
I
wow.
have many. I've met many strange people, people with egos. I have some stories, and I started to work on this. And during the lockdown, I spoke with a producer and for something very different. And he asked me what I was working on, and I told him, and he told me that he just bought the rights of the remake of this movie. So he sent me the link. I watched the movie, and I thought the structure of the movie is really, really clever, and it's a wonderful playground. It's not easy to make, really challenging because of the long shot sequence, because of the energy, and also because it's the movie was festival's darling, and I didn't want to hide the original. I wanted to put it on the light, and finally, even if I've been more or less faithful to the original, it happened that it's a very personal movie. So it's a strange combination, but it's how it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, would you consider this a remake or a sequel? Like, what do you consider it in your head? Because you really do honor the original. Like, it's not like there's, I mean, no spoilers, but you integrate it so well.
Yeah.
So, like, in your head, what do you consider this?
No, no, it's not a sequel because a sequel would be impossible because there's so many things that not happen the way they should that
Yeah.
it can't be a sequel. It's really a remake, but because of
Cool.
the different meta level, I just added one or two other levels of meta, and one of them was this one. I mean, the director is supposed as I was to make a remake, and also because it's an opportunity to create some other jokes and funny situation.
That's so I would love to hear more about shooting the long take at the beginning and what that process was like because obviously it is like you were saying it's incredibly difficult to pull off and when we see the back half we see that but what was that like to create that long shot that long take and have your own kind of puzzle to put it all together.
Well, this shot is very challenging on many levels. The first one, of course, it has to be very precise. So
Yeah.
it's 5 weeks and a half of rehearsing with all the actors,
Oh.
and yeah, and the last half and a week and a half, the crew came also, and so it was really very precise choreography.
Okay.
Uh, so that was the first challenge. The other one was to, even if nothing is happening the way it's supposed to happen. So it's not like a bad movie, just that they can't the story can't move on because nothing is happening like it was planned. So we had to find the right tone. It's not just doing like something bad, but also you want people not to be too you want to create interest.
Yeah.
So you have to find this balance. And the last challenge, and it's really something, was usually when you rehearse so much for such a difficult shot, you want it to be perfect. And here I just want it to be not perfect at all. So I had to create all the condition for the third act. And I had to resist with my temptation of going faster, being funnier, making jokes, and that would be, I could have done that, but and the 31st minute would be more easy to watch
Yeah.
in a way, but it was not the story. So I had to respect the script and to stay in a very low level of interest.
So what was it like personally for you to make the like the meta aspect of it, and it's like you yourself are kind of in it in a way and trying to get all this done and respecting the script. What was it like for you mentally and emotionally to make this movie? Like what was that experience like for you just choreographing all of this?
It was, you know what, as I said, I mean, I started to work on it during the lockdown.
Yeah.
And it was the first movie the actors and me, of course, did after the pandemic. And it was
Yeah.
the end of the pandemic. There was a curfew. So we had the authorization to go out to shoot our movie. But so it was really freeing. And
Oh,
so
cool.
we had such a good energy, all of us. It was like, kids first day of holidays of vacation, and so we were so happy to be on set. But also with all these levels, I know that a lot of people were a little bit lost, and the actors would come to me and say, what am I supposed to do now? I mean, who is talking here? Is it me? Is it the actor? Is it the actor in the movie? The actor in the movie in the movie? And so I had to be, but I knew. I mean, I made I wrote the adaptation, so
Yeah.
I knew exactly. But it was like a little bit confusing for a lot of people. And also, we were shooting. Something was, my wife Berenice is playing.
Yeah.
Uh, Roman's wife, and my daughters is playing Roman's
Oh,
daughter as
no
well.
way.
Yeah, and we were shooting a director shooting a remake of a Japanese movie, and we were shooting him rehearsing with actors exactly the same way that we had rehearsed before the shooting the same. So it was really something like really situation, like I was in a loop in a way. So
So
it was,
it is a really personal movie for you.
yeah, it is. Yeah, sure.
That's so cool. Wow. And I mean, so what, yeah, so going back to like directing the actors and like who is doing what and kind of directing them through these moments that seem, especially in the beginning, that like, are they awkward or is it part of the script? Like, what was that like directing them through that besides answering questions, but like getting them to kind of understand the meta levels they're working with? Like, what was that like as well?
Well, their first they asked me many times that question, like, do we act bad? I said, no, 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 no. Nobody acts bad. You're not playing a bad or a good actor. It's not the question. You are playing an actor who can't play because the prop is not here, because the other actor is not here, because it's an awkward situation.
Yeah.
But don't act bad. I mean,
Yeah.
you just it's you're unable to act. That's it. So we had to work and to be as precise as we could on the timing and the tempo of the sequences and everything. That's why we did the 5.5 weeks of rehearsing.
That's great. 5.5 weeks. My kingdom for 5.5 weeks of rehearsal for a movie. That's
No,
crazy.
that was great. I had never done that. And actually, it's really cool because when we started to shoot the movie, everybody was we knew each other, the actors knew each other, and we were like a stage troupe in a way.
Oh, okay.
And this also with the COVID situation, it was we create very special energy, and I was very happy with that because when I first watched One Cut of the Dead, the original Japanese movie, I thought to myself, there's something really important, and that's going to be very difficult to recreate. It's the energy of a first movie, and it's such a special energy, and you can find it when it's your first movie. You have no money, you have to do it, and that creates even everything that's not perfect creates that flavor. And for my movie, I had professional actors, a professional crew. It's not an expensive movie. It's like 4 million, so it's not big deal. But still, I mean, it's
Yeah.
a one professional situation, and it's very difficult to recreate that very special energy. And yes, with that rehearsing and the COVID situation, it helped very much.
That's amazing. And I would love to hear more about the location where you filmed. Like, how
Yeah.
did you find that location? I need to remember, did you use the location from the original film? Like, how did that all work with finding locations for you?
I've been very, very lucky because at the very maybe the second day of the prep, we found the location, and it's uh, horse races building, but it doesn't work anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been abandoned in the 90s, I think, and it was built in the 70s, and so it's very special, and it's perfect for a zombie movie because
Yeah.
yeah, it reminds you some big molds of the 70s, like in
Yeah.
the Romero movies. It has this flavor, and because we had the location at the very, very beginning of the prep, and almost 80%, maybe 85% of the shooting was in that location, I really could have these 5 weeks of rehearsing, really
In the
for real.
location? Were you rehearsing in the location?
Yeah, and it was very, very cold. It was like in February, I think, and it was really freezing, and the actors were really amazing. They would come every morning. It was 50 kilometers from Paris, and
Okay.
they would come, and even if they would rehearse like for 5 minutes in the whole day, nobody was upset. It was really the very, very nice condition of working.
That's amazing. It sounds a little like not summer camp because it was cold, but like because it was in the
Winter camp. It was a
winter
winter camp.
winter
Yeah,
camp.
without snow, but yeah.
And so you mentioned Romero. Are you a zombie movie person? Like, are you a fan of horror movies and zombie movies outside of working on movies?
And not that much. I have
Okay.
no, not that much. I mean, I don't know. I like the Romero's movies, and of course, Shaun of the Dead is like super funny, and Last Train for Busan is a it's a great movie, really a great movie. But I love these movies because they are good movies, not
Yeah.
because they are zombies movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not. My brother is a fan of zombies movie. He can watch even a bad zombie movie is a good movie for him. Uh, it's not the same for me. But I did my homework and I watched some
Yeah.
and I tried it, but it's not really the topic of the movie. Really, the
Yeah.
topic is the
Oh yeah.
shooting crew.
Oh yeah. I'm just curious if you're a horror fan outside of it. Are you a horror movie person at all? Like, do you like horror movies?
Do you what?
Do you like horror? Do you watch horror movies in general? Not zombie, but like, do you like horror movies, psychological thrillers? Like,
Not that much
okay.
because you know what? No, because I'm really scared. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so it works on me. So because I know it works, I put a lot of distance, and I always like making jokes and making noise. And
Yeah. You're like, I'm gonna make it sound like I'm not scared, but I'm actually terrified.
exactly, exactly.
My last question for you is, do you remember the first horror movie you ever saw as a kid?
Yeah, I remember it was when I think I was 13, and it was the first VHS recorder, uh, the videotapes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
VHS. And one of my friend had one of the first I don't know I've seen, and he had this tape of a cannibal Holocaust. You
Oh
know
my
this?
God.
Yeah, and we were 13, and one day an afternoon we went to his house and he said, "Oh, I have this. It sounds cool," and uh, and we watched Cannibal Holocaust, and I was really terrified, terrified. And
That's a
so this
that
is my
wow, that was your
yeah
first horror.
yeah.
No wonder you're scared of horror movies going forward, because that really
Yeah, no, this one was really, really, really scary.
well, Michelle, thank you so much for chatting with me about Final Cut. I was so impressed with how you were able to make such a good remake, but also like make your own vision of that movie. It's really quite impressive what you're able to accomplish with it. So
Thank
I'm
you.
glad I could chat with you today.
Thank you very much.